This is a Fox 5 News special report.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Lacey. We're getting some new information about the crane collapse on the Tappan Zee Bridge earlier this afternoon. Governor Cuomo in Tarrytown right now with an update. Let's listen in.
Wasn't that heavy, but it was. We were very, very fortunate that the situation wasn't worse. We are going to be doing an investigation to find out what happened to the crane and why the crane malfunctioned. We're also going to be inspecting the lanes to make sure there's no structural damage to the bridge. As you know, the bridge is an old bridge. That's why we're replacing it in the first place. The crane boom did land directly on the bridge. We're in the process of clearing the boom now, and we've made significant progress on clearing the boom, but we want to do a structural inspection of the bridge to make sure there's no underneath structural damage from the weight of the boom landing on the bridge. And until that structural inspection is done, we are not comfortable, I am not comfortable reopening the bridge. Even though the deck may look fine, you don't know what happened or could have happened underneath the bridge to the supporting structure. Again, it's a very old bridge that has been pieced together for a very long time. It should have been replaced decades ago. So until we finish that structural inspection, I don't feel comfortable saying the bridge will be reopened to traffic. The structural inspection should be done in several hours, and we'll have a further update at that time. In the meantime, we'll continue removing the boom from the top of the deck, and we've made very good progress there. And we have a structural inspection team that is actually on the ground, and they're on the way to the bridge. We know there was some damage on the south side of the bridge. At least one lane on the south side appears to have had significant damage, or damage that is so significant that it couldn't immediately reopen, let's say. But again, that's preliminary. There are experts who do just this, and they're going to inspect the structural integrity of the bridge, and then we'll make a final determination. In the meantime, people should use other routes. You have the George Washington Bridge, you have the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, you have the Kingston Rhinecliff Bridge, and you have the Bear Mountain Bridge, all of which could be used as alternatives to the Tappan Zee. Again, we'll have further information in the next few hours after the structural engineer. You now know what we know. We do not know why the crane collapsed. Again, 28 cranes were operating today. Dozens and dozens of cranes have been operating on that bridge for months. This is the first accident we had. We don't know what caused the accident with this crane. If there's a silver lining in this situation, it's that nobody was seriously hurt. If you said to me that a boom could fall across the Tappan Zee Bridge at noon, not hit a car, not hit a person, and there'd be no serious injury, I wouldn't believe it. So I'm going to say a special prayer tonight that we were that fortunate. We'll do the inspection on the crane, we'll do the inspection on the bridge, we'll give you more information. We have diverted traffic from the bridge already, and we have removed most of the traffic from the bridge and from the approaches by opening up the barriers and letting the traffic do U-turns. I'd rather err on the side of caution in this situation. Again, from the surface, it looks like only one lane was damaged, but it's an old bridge. Until we have a structural inspection done by professionals, I don't feel comfortable reopening the bridge. Questions? It's called a vibratory hammer crane that was putting in pilings.
Did wind play a role as far as we know?
I didn't hear that wind played a role, no.
Governor, even though the cranes have been working for weeks and months without an incident, are you concerned at all that the aggressive timetable on this bridge was a factor in any way?
No. And I'll let the experts respond. But short answer, no. We have an aggressive timetable because we want to build the bridge, and the bridge company wants to build the bridge, and nobody wants to take the project, have the project take more time than is required. But our timetable is to build a sound bridge safely. We do not have a timetable that in any way suggests any corners are going to be cut or any safety precautions are not going to be taken. Now, let's find out exactly what it was, but you have hundreds of people working on this bridge. It is the largest infrastructure project going on in the United States of America, believe it or not. So it is a massive project, dozens of boats, dozens of cranes, hundreds of men, and we'll find out what happened with this crane. But until then, sometimes equipment breaks and sometimes accidents just happen. As simplistic as that sounds, sometimes that's all there is to it. We'll know more after the inspection. Anything else you'd like to add on that, Terry?
No, yeah, the crane that failed is a new crane. Fortunately, the manufacturer's rep was on site when it failed, and so they're also looking into it. And the task that the crane was performing, driving pile, is a routine task. It's not a special task. We've driven thousands of piles out here, and so until we have a full investigation, we really don't know why this had an issue.
And driving pile, break that down even further for people who don't know construction, what they were actually, what does that mean?
The crane holds up a vibratory hammer. The hammer weighs 121,000 pounds. And it vibrates the pile into the mud, and so the crane's job is to hold that hammer up into the air on top of the pile. And again, it's a routine task that we've performed thousands of times out here.
So you think it's a structural problem with that crane, not mechanical?
It's too early for me to guess. Obviously it's one of three issues, right? It's a problem with the crane, it's a problem with the hammer, or it's operator error. And that's what the investigation will look at. The wind wasn't a factor. No.
Was the operator thrown into the water?
No.
Governor, will this impact at all the opening of the new bridge? And is there a target date for that?
This should not, I don't believe, it should affect the timing for the new bridge. If anything, it's going to be a question on the reopening of the old bridge, right? Because we have to check the structural integrity of the old bridge. But it shouldn't affect the timing on the new bridge, and it'll be the same timetable that we've been working on. As Terry said, what's interesting and even more confounding here is it was a new crane performing a routine task. This was not one of the high-risk operations of bridge building, if you will. Some of the things they've done on building this bridge have really been amazing. One of the largest cranes in the world came in, etc. But this had nothing to do with that. This was just one of a routine crane that is doing pilings, of which they have done thousands since we've started construction.
Do you know who owns the crane?
Tappan Zee Constructors owns the crane.
Let him step to the mic. Step to the mic.
Yeah, my name is Terry Toll. It's T-O-W-L-E. I'm president of Tappan Zee Constructors.
How tall was that crane?
That's untrue. No, the crane sits on our on the new bridge, and the boom is what failed.
Traffic in the surrounding areas, the extra police out there to handle the amount of cars that will be on the local roads this evening?
The state police are coordinating with all the local police for exactly that purpose. The main inconvenience, I said the silver lining was nobody was seriously hurt. To the extent there is an issue, it's the traffic and the backup of the traffic. And that we're working on with the state police. The local police has been very helpful. I've been speaking with the local officials, and I want to thank them very much for their assistance. And depending on the delay, we'll take it from there, which we'll find out after we do the inspection of the bridge, and then we can give you a hard timetable and motorists a hard timetable of when the bridge is going to reopen.
Are you concerned about the safety? I mean, this has been a controversial bridge. We had a boating accident where some folks were killed. You had a barge accident. Now you have this crane collapse. Are you concerned about ongoing?
Yeah, I would I would take exception to your characterization. This is the largest infrastructure project in the United States of America. When you do something this big involving this many people, this many situations, this many boats, things will happen. You know, somebody will drop a hammer and it'll hit them on their foot, right? Things happen. There are accidents that happen. But this has been extraordinary, in my opinion, on the rate of progress and the lack of any serious injuries here. You had a boating accident, which was really a recreational boating accident, right? Which had nothing to do with the bridge construction whatsoever. So when you say that, it's misleading. You had another accident where, again, a boat that was operating on the river hit a stationary barge that was part of the project. So, no, as far as the construction itself and the contractors themselves, it has been going extraordinarily well.
All right, guys, anything else?
The inspectors are on their way now. We just flew them in. We're bringing them from the airport. Several hours is what they told me. And that's what I will repeat to you. I have no reason to know if that estimate is short or long, but I'll be working with them. We're going to take a tour of the top side of the bridge now, and then we'll do an inspection of the bottom of the bridge with the bridge inspectors. And as soon as we have an estimate of when the old bridge will reopen, we'll give it to you. Again, the traffic backup is probably the biggest problem we're dealing with. And you know what? Thank God that's the biggest problem we're dealing with. That's all I can say.
If you were driving from Nyack to Mount Kisco tonight, what would you do?
I would take a different bridge. Thank you.
Very tall. How tall is that crane boom?
That's right. I can get Damien to holler at you. I don't know off the top of my head.
All right, there you have it. That was Governor Cuomo saying that the Tappan Zee Bridge will remain closed until structural engineers can complete their inspection after that collapse that took place earlier this afternoon. That will likely take several hours. Again, though, he did say very, very fortunate the situation was not worse. We will have much more coming up in the Fox 5 News at 5.